This video may be a little harder for some people to watch than some of my other videos, mostly because this video deals with a domestic animal. It's a cat, so if you don't like hearing stories about cats dying, then, or seeing dead cats, then this might not be the video for you. I just got back from spending the afternoon with a close friend of mine who has given me one of his dead cats. And this cat was not one he was particularly close to, but he still loved the cat. That's obvious. He had gotten the cat as a very emaciated stray. He tried to nurse him back to health, but he had an infection that just wouldn't heal, and antibiotics weren't working. There was nothing that could be done to stop this infection from spreading and causing the cat a lot of pain, so he was put down. And that was 3 years ago. He buried the cat in a swamp. So we went today to look for this cat, and it took us a while to find him, but we found him. And I did a smudging for him, and I collected what was left of his remains. There was some damage done to the body from over the years, the swamp and all the water and stuff like that. But these bones are going to be cleaned and put into my private collection. As I told my friend I'd do, I'm not going to sell any parts from this cat because he's a close friend of mine. He gave me this cat that he loved, and he's going to be in my collection forever. I'm going to take such good care of this little boy. But anyway, I just thought I would show the body so that it'd be an educational thing for people who are wondering, well, what does the body of a cat look like when it was buried in a swamp for 3 years? So we're going to check that out in a minute. As I said, if you don't really want to see a decomposed cat, then you can turn the video off right now. I'm not going to be upset by the views dropping at this point in the video because I know that this is very different than the porcupines and the raccoons and the foxes, coyotes, deer, all those other animals, because this hits a lot closer to home for a lot of people because this is a domestic cat. And this is an animal who was extremely loved by his caretaker, even though he was only in the home for a short time. He was really loved, and he will continue to be loved as part of my curio collection. So I'm gonna cut this part and I'm going to show you the cat in just a minute here. I'm just going to remind everybody that this may be a little graphic. It's not the most graphic thing that I have showed on this channel because this is old decay, it's not fresh at all. There's a very light smell, but it's more like a dry rot smell, even though it's very wet. It's not the typical macerated flesh in a water bucket smell, because that is bad. This is just like a light hint. It's a decomp smell. But it's not that bad. But anyway, this here is what a cat looks like after 3 years buried in a swamp. So there is some hair. It's very, there's some mold there, that's what this is. But you can see the color of the cat, nice gray color, some white, there's some hair there. That there is mold from the skin, and you can see that the hair is kind of felted, it's pulling up off of the skin. This is the actual pattern of the cat, I believe. But that's his back end, you can see the leg bone going through there. Some more leg bones. Something interesting about swamp bodies is the bones also turn color. It's a really nice mottled black color. Very interesting, very pretty. Here's it's either the radius or the ulna, I can't tell right now. But there's some more of his flesh. There was some mummification. I'm not exactly sure all the terms because I haven't really looked up swamp bodies. I definitely will be now, so I can figure out how to clean this little guy. His skull is broken up pretty bad, but that's to be expected. There's a lot of freezing, thawing, freezing, thawing. There's probably a few other bones that may have gotten weak over the years in the swamp. But pretty much, this is a swamp body. There's still some mud on him because I wanted to leave a lot of mud intact as I could. You can see that his hair is just lifting right off that skeleton there. As I said, this might be a little disturbing to some people to actually see this. It doesn't bother me because I've seen many dead cats over the years, and as I'm pulling back, I can smell more. So I'm just going to put this back where it was. But this little guy, when he's all cleaned, he's definitely going to be loved. I'm going to have a jar, like once all of his bones are clean, I can measure the bones. I can find out what size jar to get for him. He's going to have his name. He's going to have a little envelope attached to the jar with the story of him. And this boy, he's going to be in my collection forever. Like, absolutely forever. He's going to be loved. He's a very special little cat. And he is going to live on through this collection because eventually I will have to will my collection to somebody. And they'll will it to somebody, and they'll will it to somebody. In like a couple 100 years, this cat is still going to be in a jar. And he will be remembered, and he will be loved for eternity. And that's part of the premise of Beauty from Decay, is that taking the remains of what has decayed and giving them immortal life through art. It's memorializing them in a literal sense. It's like people can look at them and appreciate them forever. Their beauty is going to live on eternally. So I better get this little boy into the tomb, and that way he can continue to rot down.